Welcome to Instigating with Clarkey. And where's jury? There's no jury this week. It's just Clarkey, but it's not just Clarkey, actually. I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming aboard for the first time as a co-host, but a long-time guest on this show, Mr. Ian Doig. So it's just like Instigating with Doigy and Clarkey this week. How are you, Doigy?
Well, I think maybe we should have to make this permanent.
I'm okay with it. If you're okay with it, we just won't tell them. We just won't tell them.
Exactly,
Hopefully your internet doesn't act up like it has in the past. We're really hoping you can stick with us for the whole hour this week. We've been trying to make sure everything's stable. So hopefully we are stable for the entire show. And of course, Instigating is brought to you by Larry Hudson's. Hudson's has it, and the Listowel Squash Club. The fall season's about to start up, Doigy. My foot is nearly healed, and I'm ready to go. How are you? You're off a tournament up north, aren't you?
I am. I'm doing well. It was a pretty good weekend up there. I played quite well, and very pleased.
Well, okay. You're being a little humble. Where did you play, and how did you finish?
Well, I went up north to Parry Sound area and played the Ridget Manitou Golf Club. And I was playing in the Northern Ontario PGA Championship and concurrently the Northern Ontario PGA Senior Championship. It was a 2-day tournament, and I was very fortunate that I played quite nicely, and I came away with a multiple victory, winning both divisions. So I beat the young guys and I beat the old guys.
That's outstanding. So the first day, I know you played really well the first day, and the second day you ran into some weather problems, but still held it together.
Yeah, day one, I shot 68, very clean card, 14 pars, 4 birdies, and that's probably the highest I could have shot. I probably should have shot 65 or 64. I hit it very, very well. And then day two, we woke up to torrential rains. Rain was coming sideways for all 4.5 hours that we were out there. But I played very nicely again, actually through 11 holes. I was 2 under for the day. Sorry, through 10 holes, 2 under for the day. My first bogey of the tournament came at the 11th when I 3-putted. Made a couple bogeys in that bad weather coming in, but birdied 18 to win by 4. So yeah, it was a fun couple days.
Yeah. So, and how do you cope with that weather? Like you have a rain suit, the gloves. Like, how do you keep dry? How does that club not fly out of your hand?
Well, funny that you asked that. So, in all my years of playing and all my years of caddying on the tour and everything, I mean, the big thing that we always want to have is dry towels. Mm-hmm. And that day, I went through more towels than I had ever gone through in a round on tour in the past. And I went through almost 10 towels in 18 holes. Trying to keep my clubs dry, and I did a very good job of it. But the rain was so heavy and I was so wet that I literally took my rain suit off for the last 4 or 5 holes because it was doing no good and it was just getting heavy and making it so I was absolutely a drenched rat when I was done.
And the course conditions, like I know sometimes they'll stop play if you're putting through puddles or whatever, but the course was still okay.
Yeah, so the greens were absolutely perfect. They held no water at all, drained wonderfully, so they were playable. Now the fairways, we probably could have stopped. There was a number of times where when you take relief from casual water, you have to take full relief. So you can't just move to an area that's a little less wet. You have to move to an area that there is no water laying there. And a couple times I had to move 40 or 50 yards away. Wow. And it got to the point near the end of the round where I was just hitting it out of the water because my nearest relief would be a much more difficult golf shot. So I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna play it out of the water. Yeah.
Because you would have to move back, not near the hole, right?
Yeah, so on number 12, I had 147 yards to the flag, but my nearest point of relief was at the 190 mark. So I was going to have to move 50 yards further back. So instead of hitting a 7-iron in, I was going to have to hit 4 or 5-iron in. So I just hit it out of the water.
Wow. Hey, we're going to talk Leafs in the second half of the show today. As a couple Leaf fans, we're going to have that opportunity. And obviously, if people have watched our show in the past, they know how you've gone on rants on Facebook about the Maple Leafs. And we're going to give you a chance to not just post stuff today, obviously, but to actually say it on the show. But you also had an interesting post a week or so ago before the tournament you were in. And as I was reading, I go, is he retiring? Is he announcing that he's retiring from competitive golf? But then you played on the weekend. What was that post all about, Dougie?
Well, that post was all about the fact that, look, at the tournament I just played in that I won, the field isn't as strong as what the field would be on the Canadian Tour or a Corn Ferry Tour event or anything like that. And so I went to Windsor to try and qualify for a Canadian Tour event. And the kids I was playing with were hitting the ball almost 100 yards past me. And I was going into greens we had 5 inches of rain. The golf course was playing extremely long. And I went on a stretch of holes at one point in time, 6 holes in a row, where the shortest club I hit into the green was a 4-iron. I hit 4 4-irons, a hybrid, and a 3-wood into par 4s. And you know what? At that level, you just can't compete when you're hitting that much club in. The kids they just hit it too far. They're going at the greens with 7-irons. When we got around to number 2, our 11th hole, the young kid that I was playing with, I had 270 to the flag for my second shot in a par 5, and he had 197 and hit 7-iron on the green. Now, we both birdied the hole because I'm a good short game player. But over a 4-day period, they're just going to kick my butt. So I basically said, enough of that. I'll play the smaller tournaments around home. I'll play against the seniors where I think I know I can compete. And then that's exactly what I did. It was a smaller tournament with more seniors. And I went up there and I competed well and I played well and I won. So
there you go. Yeah. There you go. How are these guys doing it? Like, is it all in club head speed, technology? How can you possibly, like, it blows my mind how these guys can hit the ball as far as they can nowadays.
Yeah, I'll be very honest with you. I'm a little perplexed by it myself because I actually look at them and it doesn't look like they're swinging that much harder than I am. Look, I swing my driver at 102 or 103 miles an hour. Well, these kids are swinging it at 113 or 114 miles an hour or faster. And so that's where they're getting the distance from. But it comes from technique. It comes from the shafts in the golf clubs. It comes from the clubs themselves. And it comes from the golf ball. You know, they're physically fit. They're physically stronger than we ever were coming up. And they swing at it harder. It's as simple as that. They can just swing at it harder.
You know, I think back to the olden days with Mo Norman. And what do you think Mo would be thinking now, watching these guys hit the ball as far as they can?
Well, I can tell you exactly what he would be saying. He would say it twice. It'd be, ooh, can't believe that. Ooh, can't believe that. Yeah, I think he would embrace it because, he was kind of out there, a bit of a savant, and he would try to figure out why they're hitting it so far, and he would try to do it himself. But the thing that they don't do, and what Mo was always known about, was he hit it so straight. And they, as good as they are, and as long as they hit it, they can get pretty wild off the tee. And when they get wild off the tee, a guy like me can beat them still. And that's the thing, right? And if you put me on the right golf course, a golf course that's 6,800 or 6,900 yards long, I can still compete with them. But you put me on a 7,000 or 7,200 yard golf course that's wet, now I'm going to struggle. And that's what happened down. But Mo would just hit it straight. That's all.
Yeah. And you bring up the guys who are big and strong and can hit the ball. My daughter Amanda's boyfriend Dan, he is a big guy and a strong guy, and like he gets like 280 away and hits a 3-wood to the green. Like I'm like, how do you do that?
To me, that's just crazy.
Usually he has no idea where it's going, but he can hit it far.
Right.
So that's what you're saying. If they sprayed around, you can compete, right?
Yeah.
Do you still get excited about
exactly.
watching
Now,
the PGA?
A little bit, especially when certain players are playing, or friends of mine that are playing that are in contention. The Canadians, especially, if Nick Taylor or Adam Svensson or Adam Hadwin are playing well, I'll watch. I have a lot of respect for Jordan Spieth, because here's a guy that lost his game, and financially he has no need to really work at it and find it to come back, but he's done that. I mean, he's leading today after the first round of the first playoff event. And so for me, I look at that and I go, here's a guy that really doesn't need to do this financially, but he's worked his butt off over the last year and a half to get his game back. And for me, that I show a lot of respect to a player like that, that's willing to put that time in and work really hard. So I love watching him. I love watching Rory McIlroy. I watch Phil Mickelson. I watch DJ. I watch all of these guys, because I'm more amazed at how they hit the golf ball. I think back to when I started. I thought I was a pretty good player when I was a kid. I'm not even close to these guys. Like, it is crazy how good they are.
Yeah. When I watch now, I need a storyline. Like it used to be Tiger. How's Tiger doing? Or is Tiger coming back? Is he playing? They're just, to me, the storylines are what's lacking in the game now. And I tell you, I haven't probably sat through, not majors aside, I haven't sat and watched a typical normal tournament in years. I just can't get into it.
Yeah, and I get that. I really do. And I find it very funny, because if I were to look at the Champions Tour, the Senior Tour, one of the things that the media always picks up on is when a guy kind of comes out of left field that nobody's really ever heard of and has a great tournament or a great event. And we talk about that. But the PGA Tour and the Champions Tour, for that matter, are structured in such a manner that they really don't want that to happen. Right. And to me, that's wrong. Like, I think that, with the PGA Tour now, you have, they have the feeder tours of the Corn Ferry Tour and all that, but you also have this university work their way onto the tour now and stuff. And there's no storyline there. Like when was the last time we heard about a kid that was basically sleeping in his car and then he burst out onto the PGA Tour and did really well?
Yeah, we haven't.
We used to have that happen all the time.
And like now we're into August. All the majors are done. The Ryder Cup, is that this year? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's in September.
Okay, so at least we have that, because that's exciting. That's that to me, I love watching the Ryder Cup. So at least we have something to look forward to then.
Well, it's team golf, and you'll have all the Americans shouting USA, USA, USA.
Yeah.
So it's
it
gets you fired up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, the Canadian Open next year is going to have a new date. It's going to go 2 weeks before the US Open, and I think they're flopping with the Memorial. What do you think that will mean to the field at the Canadian Open now? Will this give an opportunity maybe for bigger names? Because a lot of guys don't like to play, correct me if I'm wrong, a week before a major.
Yeah, that is correct. It's really funny. It kind of flip-flops over time. Sometimes they don't want to play the week before. Sometimes they do want to play the week before to get prepared and things like that. I really think it'll boil down to the venue. Okay. Where are we going next year? But also going 2 weeks earlier, what's the weather going to be like? That's my big concern. We're in Canada.
Yeah,
right?
But come on, it's still June.
So what's the weather going to be like in the 20th of May?
Is it? Are they going to May?
Early June, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might even be in the end of May. So,
but remember,
running into some pretty bad weather.
We used to have this tournament in September. Like the Canadian Open was in September a little bit, not long ago.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I played in it a few times when it was in September, and we could get bad weather then as well, for sure. Yeah. But not typically really cold weather. You might get storms and rain and everything, but it's usually early enough in September where the weather was still pretty good. I mean, I mean, in May, we could have, it could be, 13 degrees Celsius out there for 5 days in a row.
Where do you think where is it? Is it Hamilton next year?
You know what? To be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay, you fill for a second, and
I have to look.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't look into it to see where it is. I actually hope it is at Hamilton next year. I just played Hamilton a couple of weeks ago, and the renovations are spectacular. I absolutely fell in love with the place. In my opinion, it's the number one golf course in Ontario now, and definitely top 5 in Canada. They did a great job on the renovations. The clubhouse, they redid the patio and everything. It looked beautiful. The only thing I would say is the patio, you can't really see the 18th green when you're sitting in certain parts of the patio. So that kind of defeated the purpose. But yeah, the golf course is wonderful.
Hamilton Golf and Country Club, May 27th starts. May 27th. Yeah. So that's where it is. It is in Hamilton. It'll be fine. We get fine weather.
Even if I wanted to try and qualify. Oh, you're freezing up on me. I guess my internet's a mess.
Well, you're with us right now, so keep going. But yeah, I was just saying May 27th to June 2nd in Hamilton. So yeah, you going to qualify?
Yeah. So I would have thought about trying to qualify for it because I love Hamilton and I just shot 70 there a couple of weeks ago on the tournament course. But on those dates, I'm scheduled to be at Pebble Beach playing in a Pro-Am.
You know that far in advance where you're going to be? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When do the PGA...
So we have a Pro-Am out there. Two rounds at Pebble Beach, 1 round at Spyglass Hill, 1 round at Spanish Bay, and I've got 3 amateurs going with me from here in Barrie, and we're going to go out there for 5 or 6 days and have a great time.
My phone didn't ring?
Well, maybe next year.
How much does it cost to play Pebble?
Well, the whole trip is, and that's the thing. It's really a bucket list for that guy that can afford to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to spend $15,000 each.
Thanks for not calling me. Wow, 50 grand. Hey, well, I was going to ask you, how far in advance would a PGA professional have to commit to a tournament? So, like, say next year's Canadian Open.
Oh, like 5 days.
Oh, okay.
So the Friday of the tournament previous, they have until 5 o'clock, unless they're playing in the tournament and their tee time takes them past 5 o'clock. They have up until they're done playing, and then they can commit. So if I finished on the 18th green at 6:55, I can go over to the tour office and say, "Look, I want to commit to next week. Put me in the field."
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Golf is done. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and talk Leafs and a couple Leaf fans chatting away. We might even bring a non-Leaf fan in, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But you're watching Instigating with Clarkey and Doig, brought to you by Larry Hudson's Has It and the Listowel Squash Courts. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Doig. Doig, you've changed positions. We had some issues with your internet, as we always do. Now you're up in your beautiful living room there in Minising, Ontario. It looks very nice.
Yeah, it is very nice. You can't really see right now, but I have a great view overlooking the Minising wetlands, and 30,000 acres out back here, which is pretty nice. Lots of wildlife.
And the good thing is, it still seems like we're on a delay, which I don't understand with the internet and everything. It's like a satellite, but whatever. We'll deal with that. But it looks nice and stable right now, which is nice. I dropped in to see you on Saturday, and you weren't home.
Yeah, what was I doing? I think I must have been teaching golf or something, or practicing, one or the other.
You must have been. Practicing.
That's why I'm a little better than you, Clarkey.
that's one reason you were a little better than me.
He puts in the time. He puts in the time, Clarkey.
We're gonna talk some Leafs here, and that third voice you heard is our producer extraordinaire, Adam Olivero. Adam, as a non-Leaf fan, as we see your Sakic jersey behind us, your Avs fan, what do you see before we get deep in with the Leaf segment here? What do you see as a non-Leaf fan as the problem with this team, and do you see them ever overcoming it and bringing that Stanley Cup, which you won a couple years ago, to Toronto?
Yeah, we won the Cup a couple of years ago. And
thanks. I know. You don't have to tell us. We know.
But I just said this, okay? We came over that because Colorado had a jury decade. Now, I know you guys have had longer than a decade, but we had a decade where we did not make the playoffs at all. We were near the bottom team for a good part of that 5-10 years of that decade.
But Adam, that's the way it's got to be, right? That's the way it has to be. Like that, to me, that's the way teams get better. And that's a good springboard to this conversation, because the Leafs bottomed out. The Leafs tanked. There's no question about it. And we got Austin Matthews. And that has now shot us to near the top. But where do you see this team as a non-Leaf fan?
Yeah, I see you as a competitor this coming year. You guys have made some good trades. I can definitely see you getting out of the second round. I hope you get out of the second round. You guys deserve it. You made it out of the first round last year and then just ran into one of the Chuck kids. But I think you will get there. I think you'll get there. I think it'll happen. It's you're in a hard division, right? It's kind of like the Toronto Blue Jays. They're so hard in that division, and then only one team makes it out. It's a very hard division to play in.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What do you think of with our new general manager? Do you think he's making some good moves that way, and you think that's going to help us out a little bit?
Oh yeah, I like Brad. He was a great general manager. He came from Calgary. Do I want to say Calgary? So yeah. Look, he got one of my players from Colorado, right? He traded for Nazem, or got Nazem to sign, I guess, after he left Colorado. So no, I think he's making some good moves for you guys. I think he's going to be a good GM. I'm happy you stuck with Sheldon Keefe. I think he's your guy. I think you need to stick with Sheldon. I know I'm the producer, so I've heard you guys talk about this for months. I think you definitely need to keep Austin Matthews. You definitely need to keep Mitch. William, maybe could go, maybe could stay, but I like that you've kept Sheldon as well too. He's a good coach. He does a good job. He really does do a good job as a bench coach, in my opinion, as the head coach.
You brought up a bad word, and we sort of talked about it before we got on here, where you said the Leafs should try to get Kadri back. And as Doig and I just said, no way. There was a couple other words in there, but he's not a guy. He's a guy who, in our mind, as Leaf fans, lost a series because he was a bonehead, and we don't really want him back. And I understand what you're saying. Yes, he helped Colorado win a cup, blah, blah, blah. But he got suspended playing for Colorado as well in the playoffs, and you're just lucky he didn't do something stupid again after that. But, Doigie, you're on my side, I think, on this one. There's no way we want a guy like Nazem Kadri back, right?
Not a chance. I wouldn't bring him back if, you got a whole package of other Colorado guys or Calgary guys now to come with him. I wouldn't take him back.
Yeah. Now there is that connection. Of course, there is that connection that Brad Treliving did bring him into Calgary.
Yep.
So maybe he would bring him into Toronto. I just don't. I really don't see it happening. Adam, do you see the Leafs as an elite team that has a chance to win the cup as every other team, or do you think they need to make moves still to get over that hump?
Well, your goaltending, maybe. I got Cap Friendly open here on the other monitor. So
dude, you won a cup with a very average goalie. You really did.
Sure
Darcy Kempfer is a very average at best goalie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but look at who they had on defense. I mean,
exactly.
You had Cal McCarr on defense.
We had,
no question.
The guy's a stud, and we don't have one of those.
We had McCarr. You had to play through McCarr, to get to him. There was in some games in the playoffs, they had especially in those early rounds in the year we won the cup, they had very few shots on Kemper, like very few shots, really low amount of shots, and we would just pepper the other team with shots and shots and shots. Yeah. Kadri, I bet you if Kadri came on the market and Chris McFarland, the Avs GM, signed him, he would be welcomed back with open arms. That's the crazy part. Just the experience we had with him. Yeah.
Well, I don't doubt that because he won a cup there. I don't doubt that. You don't have a bad feeling, a bad taste in your mouth like Leaf fans do, right?
Yeah. But Goaltending.
Going back to that, going back to the Kemper and that, and you're right. I if I recall correctly, there was a number of games where the opposing team never got to 20 shots.
Absolutely.
Right, during the game. And you know what? When you're only getting 17, 18, 19 shots on a goaltender, the goaltender probably doesn't have to be that good.
Yeah.
Right?
Has to
Even
be
if
good enough
he
to stop.
lets two in.
Yeah. It has to be good enough to stop like those 7 or 8 really crazy good shots, really crazy breakaways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Avs? How do you think they're going to be able to do this year?
Well, we've made some pretty good trades too. We've got some good players that came to the Avalanche thanks to new GM Chris McFarland and President of Hockey Operations Joe Sakic. But I think they'll be a competitor. Our biggest factor for the Avalanche really is our captain Gabe Landeskog is still out. He's been on LTR. It'll be coming up on 2 years at this point. Actually, it's really funny. He had the exact same knee surgery my wife had, and she's still having trouble with her knee. Now, I know she doesn't have a professional trainer and dietitian and all this that's working with her 24 hours a day, but if Gabe can't recover from that same surgery in 2 years with all those professional people, and they do say it's a surgery that's iffy to actually come back and play. Like, he can walk, he can go to the movies and stuff, but he's still having trouble on the ice, like pushing his skate and on that knee. And that goes all the way back to, I believe it was Cale Makar accidentally cut him when he fell in the corner, and Cale's skate came up and got underneath the padding at the knee and cut a ligament. Now, the difference is with my wife, she just doesn't have that ligament. It's gone. So her kneecap floats a little free. And that's kind of the same surgery that Gabe had done as well, too, where they go in and they scrape out the knee. They clean up a bit of some built-up arthritis, and then the knee's supposed to heal, and they're supposed to get a ligament come back, and his ligament's not healing that well. So that's our biggest worry right now. Now, the funny part is that's keeping us under the cap, because he's $7 million cap hit is Gabe. So,
right.
Mm-hmm. So I could see them competing, but that's our biggest
thing.
So
if he comes back, then if he comes back, all of a sudden you guys are like the Leafs and you're in cap trouble. And then what do? You got to move somebody.
We got to move somebody.
Right?
Yep, absolutely. Got to put them down to the minor leagues for sure. But he is the heart and soul of that team. Like, even this last playoff run, when they didn't make it as far as we wanted to, obviously, he was still in there with the team in the dressing room, doing the captain thing of promoting the team, getting the guys going, that kind of stuff. So he's the heart and soul of this team, even though he's not dressing every single day of the Avalanche.
Right. Much like Jake Muzzin was for the Leafs last year.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Couldn't play, but he was in the dressing room on a daily basis, trying to keep them pumped up.
Yep. No, you're not wrong at all. I could see us getting up there, at least making the playoffs for the Avalanche. Round 1, round 2, maybe. Depends. Your Leafs, I could definitely see you guys getting into the playoffs. I hope you get out of the first round. I think you will this year. I think you'll do it. You'll get out of that first round jump again, and we'll see where it goes from there.
A little bit of a freeze there, but I'm going to throw a question out there.
Sure.
How do you feel? How do you feel about the playoff format? As a Leaf fan, the last few years drives me crazy, because we know going into the first round of the playoffs, two of your top 4 teams are going to be out in the very first series.
Yep.
I would like to just go 1-16, and you know what? Maybe we end up playing the Avs in the first round, but so what? I think we should go to 1-16 for the playoff format. What's your thought on that?
Really? So you think there shouldn't be like a Western or an Eastern conference? It should just be the top 16 teams, and they're seeded 1 plays 16, 15 plays 2.
100%.
Wow, that's dramatic. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like right now, the way it's formatted, we'll never see a Montreal-Toronto final. But if they want 1-16, we could actually see that happen.
I've never even thought about that. Yeah,
how good would that be for the ratings?
Oh my God, yeah. Well, we would finally have a Canadian team win the Stanley Cup again, finally.
Well, right. I don't know if that would change anything there, but the thing is with that format, and the reason the NHL hadn't thought about it, in my mind, was because they thought the travel would be too expensive and very taxing. You could possibly have New York playing LA. or Boston playing LA, the furthest possible places to go. And it is a long way to go, but I say
sure.
suck it up. And don't worry. Like, these teams make millions and millions of dollars on a nightly basis. They have the money. It can't be the money thing. These teams travel in luxury. They all have their own airplanes. You get on an airplane in LA and you're back. Like, I think it's an excuse, because Bettman doesn't like to change things. If you guys haven't noticed, he doesn't like to do that. He likes a team in Phoenix. He wants a team in Arizona. It's ridiculous that he has not listened to everyone around him, who I'm sure has told him that it's never going to work. And I hear today that they're looking at building a rink now in Mesa, Arizona.
Oh my gosh.
Like, can we just give it up and move this team to a place where people like and want to watch hockey? It's just, Bettman will not change, Doigie. I agree with you, 1 versus 16, because quite frankly, it just never, the first rounds always seem to be the best matchups and the best games, and the best matchups and the best games should be in rounds 3 and 4, not round 1.
Yeah, right, 100%. What could you imagine if we had the final 4 teams, Chicago playing Detroit and Toronto playing Montreal? I mean, how exciting would that be? It'd be crazy, because, right? Or the Rangers playing the Islanders.
Well,
and the Leafs playing Montreal. Like,
well, the Leafs could be playing Montreal in the Stanley Cup final.
Absolutely. And that will never happen under the current format. And it drives me crazy.
Correct. Yeah. And it nearly happened in 93. We all know what happened there, but it could have and should have. But that was because the Leafs were in the Western Conference, which is ridiculous to think about as well, that the Leafs were in the West, but they were. That's just the way it was. The Leafs played LA, San Jose. They played all West Coast. Did we hear any complaining about all the travel? No.
Well,
so get on with it.
The Red Wings were in the Western Conference too for the longest time, right? And they were playing Colorado.
Absolutely.
Well, the Leafs were in the Snorris, right? With St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, Buffalo, and Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not even Buffalo. No, Buffalo was in the Adams. So, I don't know. I think it's an excuse. I agree wholeheartedly. They should go to 1 versus 18 or 16. I think it would make for way better
16,
later rounds. I think that's a great idea, but I'm never going to hold my breath that it'll ever happen, because Bettman's an expert at everything.
So 2 things then. We got to have a 1 to 16 playoff format, and the Phoenix Coyotes, Arizona Coyotes have to move to Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I mean, Halifax would probably fill the arena out there, right? Like,
they would fill it.
Quebec City is probably the place. That's the place they'll go if they're going to go anywhere. Yeah. Anyway, Producer Adam, thank you for your time today. You're going to go back pressing buttons and producing this show. And we're going to take a quick break. Pardon me?
I've been pressing buttons this whole time.
I know you have. You're a man of many talents. We're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to speak more Leafs, but we're going to bring in a big Leaf fan, and also the general manager of the Listowel Cyclones, Trent McClement. That is next when Instigating with Clarkey and Doigie returns after this. And we're back here on Instigating with Clarkey and Doigie this week. Ryan Drury will return next week, I hope. I don't know where he is. He's up north somewhere. And of course, Instigating is brought to you by Larry Hudson's Has It and the Listowel Squash Courts. We are now pleased to be joined by the general manager of the Listowel Cyclones and big Leaf fan, Trent McClement. Trent, how are you tonight?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
We are fine, and you're in the basement down in where are you? Where do you live again?
Just outside Moorfield.
Right, so, just outside Moorfield.
Yeah, I was telling you guys, I kind of moved around a lot of the toys just so it still looks like the toy room, but right now we'll call it my office.
There you go. As you prepare, you guys, the Cyclones have like a couple of exhibition games coming up. Like, it is catching up to us very quickly here. You know, the end of the summer is coming when you have a hockey exhibition games, but you guys are starting in a couple weeks, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. This next coming week here, we got camp starting on Monday. So Monday, Tuesday will be a lot of rookies. Wednesday will be more of the veterans and rookies, and then we're right into the exhibition game. So we have Strathroy on Friday, and then we have Strathroy again the following week. So we have 5 games in total for exhibition before the start of the season, and we're just trying to kind of narrow down our team. We have a lot of veteran players coming back, but no, it's going to be exciting. It's an exciting time of year. You kind of see how all the guys, what work they put in over the summer, and see kind of who's ready to roll.
What do you expect from your players in the summer? Sorry, Dougie. What do you expect from the players in the summer?
So a lot of our players, it kind of matters their ages. Like the players that we have that get drafted in the OHL, those guys are on the ice probably 5 to 6 times a week. They're working out with trainers, working out in the gym. Some of the older guys that maybe are going to go to school, and maybe the OHL dream's not there, but they still have the dream of winning something big in Junior B. They're still on the ice, but maybe they have full-time jobs, so they might be on the ice maybe 3 times or maybe 4 times a week. But for us, our biggest thing is just getting everybody back to camp in shape. Nowadays, fitness is everything. So for us, for the kids, it's more like we have fitness testing this Saturday, Sunday coming up. That's where we can kind of gauge how much they put in over the summer. And the kids that are behind a little bit, you're just hoping that they can catch up with the practices and how much ice time we have coming up. But the biggest thing over the summer is just making sure that they're on the ice, staying in shape, and getting ready for the season.
Hey, Trent, kind of a two-piece question. How many guys would you have in camp? And how many would you have to cut to get to your roster, and how big's your roster at the start of the season?
So the first 2 days, it's more like rookies. So a lot of them will be the 16, 17-year-olds. So those days, I think there should be around 27 players there. And then out of those 27, we'll probably take about 10 to our main camp. Our main camp will start on Wednesday, and main camp will probably have about 35 to 36. And that's forwards, defensemen, and goalies. And out of those 36, we'll cut down to a roster of, we can take a roster of 23, but we usually like to hold a roster of 22. That gives you 13 forwards, 7 D, and then your 2 goalies. I like the 13 and 7, because then you have 1 extra on each position. And then you can use your affiliate players when need be.
So Jesse Colback is head coach, and Holden Lansing, former Cyclone, has been with Mitchell the last few years, is now in as an assistant coach. Tell me what you think Holden can bring to the bench this season.
I think Holden, it's a huge piece. Like, he's a player that he played in Listowel. He stayed in Listowel when he could have went other places. He's the all-time leading goal scorer, point getter, actually. So for him, it's more the younger players can see what it takes and kind of the passion that he has to be in Listowel. Because the hardest thing nowadays is keeping kids. Like when Listowel won, when Holden was there, they kept a group of kids together, and they kept them together for years to kind of build a championship. So I think by bringing in Holden Lansing, he's going to kind of bring that kind of culture with him, that this is what we did when we were there. This is how we did it. This is how tight we were. So I think it's going to be good for the dressing room. It's going to be good for the bench. It's going to be good for the young players, that they can kind of lean on them. So there's just so many aspects that he's going to help our team next year, which it's huge. It's huge to have somebody like that for the kids to kind of lean on.
Trent, do you have any 16, 17-year-old kids coming into rookie camp that you think might become standouts, somebody that maybe we should watch for?
Yeah, we have our one 16-year-old so far that we've committed to. His name's Brady Smith. He's from Arthur. I think he has a good chance to make the Sioux this year. He was a 5th-round pick by the Sioux, but he has a good chance, a really good chance to make the Sioux this year. So he's a kid that, if he is on our team, he's going to be a standout. He's probably going to be definitely in our top 6. He's going to be a guy that's contributing a lot every night. But he's a player that definitely, if he isn't in the OHL, he'll be an exciting player to be watching on the ice. Another player, Aiden Renault, he was our 16-year-old last year. He's a 17-year-old this year. There's a good chance that he'll make Owen Sound, but he kind of wants to go school route. So if he's back, he's going to be another piece that's it. He's exciting to watch. I think those young players, they just have so much I don't know, when they come to the rink, they're loving it, right? They're not like those older veterans that are there and they kind of grew them through the season. They're just guys they're always there and they always want to do their best and improve and just kind of get to that next level.
Just because,
it's sorry, Clarkey.
Go ahead, Doig.
It's kind of like golf too. You get that young guy that's just coming out and they're always excited about being at the golf course. And I assume it's the same thing with being at the rink.
100%. They're just hungry. It just, as a coach, you like that, right? Because sometimes the veterans, it's not like they're not hungry sometimes, but they know they've been there, they've done it, they've had those seasons. So sometimes halfway through the season, they just want to get to the playoffs. Or that young guy, every day, he's just trying to get better and working for his goal.
Just, I don't know who to contact about changing the rules for overagers, but if your goaltending, how's your goaltending shape up? And if you ever need me, I'm 5 minutes away. I'm sure we could break some rules and get me in there to a game. But how's your goaltending shaping up right now?
Well, we do have your chiropractor, so he can get you nice and loose before the game. So,
Dr. Brent.
No, our goaltending's good. We just brought back Dixon Grimes. Dixon Grimes. This is kind of like announcing it. It hasn't been announced yet, but it's official. So, but. Dixon Grimes, he was with us as a 16-year-old, won Rookie of the Year. Then he was up and down kind of with Guelph as a 17-year-old in the COVID season. Last year as a 19-year-old, he played for most of the season in Guelph, ended up going to Charlottetown after the deadline. But bringing in a player like him, it's just huge. It's a goalie that every team would love to have somebody like him. He's a goalie that I think is a difference maker because you've seen in the playoffs in the NHL, like our Leafs, they're always struggling against Tampa because in the playoffs, goaltending wins, right? So somebody like him, he's a guy that I think can steal us a game here or two in the playoffs.
Okay, you mentioned it. Let's transition. The Leafs, let's start with the goaltending. Ilya Samsonov there, Joseph Woll there, Martin Jones. What do you think of the Martin Jones signing this past week? And where will he fit in?
I like it. I like it because last year, to me, Woll and Samsonov, their whole careers, Woll's careers kind of hasn't been that long yet, but he has had injury problems. Like last year, he was hurt a little bit. So I think by bringing Jones in, you're just bringing that kind of veteran presence. And Jones, I was surprised when they signed him and then they put up his stats. He had good stats last year. He had really good stats, in my opinion, I think he was the backup there in Seattle, but I just think that he's just that steady Eddie that if Woll isn't what we think he is, then that's a little bit of backup. I kind of wish it was a two-way contract just in case Woll is that way, because I think he'll get picked up on waivers, but I don't know. I like it. I think it's a good pickup.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if they try and send him down, somebody will pick him up. And so I'm concerned about that, about that. As a Leaf fan, I don't know where he's going to fit in. That's what I'm trying to figure out because we know Samsonov and Woll are going to be 1-2, but where does he fit in? So, that's always the question, unless they plan on carrying 3 goalies all season.
Well, it sounds like they're going to have to.
Yeah, right. I think he'll get picked up if they send him down.
Well, Martin Jones, I mean, any team could have signed him for pretty much league minimum like the Leafs did. So he may clear waivers. Let's be honest, he may clear waivers if that's where they choose. And as I said to you earlier, Doigie, I think that's a very big attraction to coming and playing for the Leafs. If you do get set down for a veteran guy who's been in the National Hockey League for a lot of years and lived in NHL big cities. That's a nice attraction to Toronto. If you get sent down, you're still in a big city. You're not going to Scranton or little places, in the middle of nowhere to play hockey.
Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think don't you agree, Trent, that should be an attraction for some players, even though they don't want to go to the minors, there's no question, but at least they're in a big city.
Oh, no, 100%. I was the other weekend, a guy named Justin Peters was at my neighbor's house, and he's the goalie coach for Ottawa's farm team. Mm-hmm. And he was saying the hardest thing with them is like you're saying right there, where their farm team is, they're 40 minutes to drive to the airport. So when somebody gets called up, they have to drive 40 minutes to the airport, then get on a plane. We're in Toronto, and he brought up that point in Toronto. If you're in the minors, you get called up, you're just right there. Yep. So if Martin Jones does get sent down, you're living in the same place. You're not really transitioning, right? So no, I think that's big.
Well, and during training and practices and everything, they're using the same facility. So even if you're in the minors, they have access to the training and everything and that beautiful facility that they have down there, right? So
Now, how does waivers work in a sense where if he clears waivers going down, does he have to clear waivers coming back up?
no,
No.
I don't believe so.
just going down.
Yeah.
No, just going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're general manager. You should know this, Trent.
I know I'm junior, though. We don't have waiver wire. Well, we're bringing in a waiver wire, but it's all new. So,
well, you'll learn it, I guess. You'll learn quickly. Where do you see? Let's not talk about the salary cap because there's no question they'll figure it out. They have to. They have to figure out the salary cap. We have a couple of guys on Robot Island right now with Matt Murray and Jake Muzzin. But where do you see GM Brad Treliving having to improve this team as they move forward throughout the season?
In all honesty, I think it's still like their bottom six. Like, I think he's done a good job. I want to see where the lineup kind of goes. But right now, it's like for the lines, you see a lot of people. You see Domi on the second line. You see Nyes on the second line, Domi on the third line, right? The hardest thing that I think that they lost at by losing O'Reilly was down the middle. I think they got to strengthen up down the middle. Like, I like the idea of Tavares would have been playing wing if we kept Riley. I think now down the middle, like Camp, like he might be your third line center. So I just think, in my opinion, I think we're good on the wings. I think we're good enough on the back end. I just think down the middle. I think we got to improve up down the middle. So I don't know where you get that. I know there's some pieces still out there maybe that you can sign. Maybe there's somebody that can play the middle, but I just know like a Domi, he can play the middle, but everybody always says that he's not that good defensively when he's there, right? So that's my opinion. I just think that down the middle is where I see us the weakest once you get past our top two.
Yeah, I still think we're a little weak in the defensive end. I'd like to see some kind of a move, try and get a stud defenseman.
But how are you going to get that? You're going to have to trade William Nylander. You're going to have to.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. You know what? At some point in time, you have to give up on somebody that's an asset to get more assets back. I mean,
yeah, no, for sure.
We went through that period of time where they were talking about bringing in Carlson and stuff, and thank God Dubas signed him because I didn't want him in Toronto.
Well,
not for $10 million.
No, right?
No,
crazy.
No, for sure. Do you think Pittsburgh? Just to go off topic a little bit, but is Dubas trying to prove a point in Pittsburgh that I'm going to do whatever I want? I'm the president and the GM, which we all knew was going to happen from the get-go, even though they went through the charade of him being the president. And I'm going to look for a GM. We all knew it was going to be him. He's made some big moves. He signed some big players. I'm in the boat that says Pittsburgh's ship has sailed, and they are an aging team, and adding Carlson just adds to that. And I'd be surprised if they made the playoffs. They didn't make it last year. They had a chance to beat Chicago in the last game, wasn't it? And they couldn't beat the worst team in the league to make the playoffs, a team who wanted to lose. Anyway, Trent, I don't get it. Yeah. I don't think Dubas is making the right moves here, but he wants to prove a point, I think.
Yeah, and if they beat Chicago, then we don't play Florida.
Right.
But
exactly.
But no, I agree. And I think that I was reading an article the other day that you bring in Carlson, but Letang and Carlson are the same player. They actually were saying that Letang's like a poor man's Carlson right now. So now you have two guys that are defensive liabilities that both play the same position on a power play. Who's on PP1, who's on PP2? Like, I don't think either of them can play the wall on a power play, right? So that's just, I don't know. I think that I agree with you. I think he's trying to prove a point that, hey, because he sees what Brad did, bringing in those players in Toronto. And I think if Dubas is in Toronto right now, we don't have some of those guys. I think he might still have Domi, because Domi was like an upgrade from a Kerfoot. But I don't think he brings in Reeves or Bertuzzi. And I just think that, and look at the guys that he's bringing in. Like, he brought in Achari there. He's brought in a lot of pieces that I think he's trying to kind of save something there.
Yeah.
But eventually Crosby and Malkin, like, they got to eventually fall off here a little bit. Like, they're getting into their late 30s now. So,
Where do you see Bertuzzi lining up? Do you think he'll be with Matthews on that first line?
I see it. I just see it because he played with Larkin in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think the hardest thing is you put him there. He's probably not a Leaf next year, the year after, because he's going to make so much money. But I just think that adds that sandpaper to that line. Like that, to me, he's a better Bunting, and Bunting did what he did on that line, right? So,
yeah, I think Domi's a better Bunting.
No, 100%. Yep, and Domi had 20 goals last year.
Yeah,
and he had 20 goals. Mind you, he's playing with Kane and stuff like that. But I think he's on his second line.
Yeah, and you would hope and think that the passion about playing where his dad was I want to say star, but he was a standout. He was a fan favorite. I think that's gonna help. And Don Cherry, I'm gonna refer back to the old guy, Don Cherry. Always said the Leafs should sign more Canadians, guys who are proud to play in Toronto and want to play in Toronto. And I agree 100% with them. And I'm sure you guys agree with me.
I'm all in. 100%. I'm all in. I'd like to have 23 Canadians on my team if I could have my way.
Matthews is American.
I even think Bertuzzi, though, Sudbury boy, right? I don't know. I think that Domi, has he said what number he's wearing? Has he actually said it yet?
He's not wearing 28. He did announce
it. He's not wearing 28. He did say that.
He did announce it. I can't remember, though. He's not wearing the dad's number.
Yeah. No. And if you were the Leafs, you'd push for that. How many jersey sales do you get right there, right?
Well, no, for sure. I think you'll get a lot no matter what. But for sure. The last thing I wanted to ask you about the Leafs, just being a general manager, how much pressure is on Treliving in your mind with your three guys? Nylander has to be signed before next season or traded, and Matthews and Marner running out in 2 years. Do you think you'll get these contracts done before this season starts? They're running out of time, but where do you see it all playing out?
Yeah, I think you got to get the Matthews one done first. It's kind of like back in the day when Crosby and Malkin, don't want to go back to Pittsburgh here, but when Crosby and Malkin were both free agents, Crosby took the pay cut first because he knew that he had to leave room for everybody else. But I think that there's a lot of pressure on him because if you get close to the trade deadline, now mind you, if you don't re-sign Nylander and say you did lose him for nothing, in a salary cap era, even though you didn't get anything back,
you can sign a $7 million guy.
You do have cap space. So now you can go out and sign somebody if you sign the right guy. Now, if you think of the trade deadline that you can't upgrade him for a defenseman because of his no trade clause, but by keeping him, you have a better chance of winning, I almost think you have to roll the dice, kind of like in baseball there with that Ohtani, right? They kind of are rolling the dice. It's not working out for them, but I just think that as a GM, there's a lot of pressure on him because he's first year there. And if you don't re-sign them and say they both walk, so
he can't let that happen.
No.
I agree with you about Nylander. If they don't trade him, then they have $7 million cap space they can spend elsewhere, and you can get a pretty good player for that.
I just think if he wants 10, he's not getting 10 with the contracts that were just signed. I think he's maybe an $8.5 million guy now, but that's about it. I don't even think he gets 9 because that guy in New Jersey, he just signed for what, 8.5?
Yeah. Hey, we're nearly out of time. Sandy's getting a little restless. She wants to go out. She's made an appearance on the show like she always does. Trent, I worked side by side with you at Larry Hudson's. It was a busy day on Monday. We had our big Civic Day sale, but the deals continue. We do have some demos that are $7,000 off and 0.99% financing. Bolts are rolling in. You were selling something tonight? What were you selling there?
An Enclave. So we're getting a lot of SUVs now, bigger SUVs. It's good. It's a good stock.
It is. Traverses, Enclaves. Doigie's going to make the jump. He's driving something else right now, but we've been talking about a nice Canyon, the Colorados and Canyons. We have a Colorado on the lot right now, but it's not to Doigie's standards. But we do have a Colorado right on the lot. So if you're interested out there, come and see your sales rep.
I went and looked at the Denali. I went and looked at the Denali on the local lot up here.
Yeah, but you're not buying
And
it. You're going to buy it at Hudson's. You like it? Okay. Well, we'll put your name on it. Let's do it.
I'll buy it from you, but we got to get one.
Of course you will. Good. Okay, we'll do that. If you are interested in looking at a vehicle, come on in. If you have a sales rep, ask for them. If not, ask for me. And then if I'm not there, you can ask for Trent. That'll work. Right, Trent? That'll work.
Yeah, I like that.
That'll work.
I'll come on the show more if we keep on doing those.
Exactly. Trent, thanks for your time today. Good luck with the Cyclones this year. You're going to be a regular now. You're a friend of the show. We're going to have you on regularly now. But thank you for coming in tonight and talking some Leafs and some Cyclones.
Sounds good. I'll upgrade to the upstairs next time so we don't have the basement here.
Perfect. Well, Doigie's changed. Doigie was in his basement and the internet signal wasn't good, so he relocated. Doigie, this was your first co-hosting experience. How did you feel? Not as a guest today, but as a co-host.
I think it went okay, but we'll have to let the fans decide on that one.
Yeah, we will. We should put a poll up, see if they want you back or not.
Exactly.
Ryan Drury will be back next week. Everyone, thanks for joining us this week on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury, brought to you by Larry Hudson's. Hudson's has it. And a reminder, you can watch this show and, it's on Whiteman Fridays at 8:00 on Channel 6. It debuts on YouTube at 9. And of course, we're on all the audio podcasts as well. You can find us on our socials at Instigating Pod. And Adam Olivero, thanks for joining us as well. And thanks for putting that graphic up because I was trying to figure out what time the show's on. But anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll talk to you and see you next week here on Instigating.